Hey there. Welcome to the New You Life Pulse podcast, where members go to get a pulse on the heartbeat of our incredible community. New You Life is the hormone health company developing transformative products that challenge the way you age. The Pulse features rising stars, leaders in the field, and insights from our leaders at headquarters. Each Pulse podcast is designed to help you become the best version of yourself by keeping you dialed in, inspired, and motivated. Are you ready to be the best you? Now, let's listen to the pulse of New You Life.
Hello, New You Life family. I'm so excited to see you. I am here and joined by none other than our founding Diamond Ambassador, the one and only, like I said, the handsomest man alive. I'm get paid to say that. Paul, our founding design, our Diamond Ambassador, Paul Capozio. Paul, welcome. So glad to have you here, buddy.
Yeah, I'm glad to do it with you, Stony. You know I enjoy when we work together on things like this, so I'm excited to do it. I definitely can say, without a doubt, the most handsome man co-host on this particular webcast. So that I think is a safe bet. We don't want to have compliance. We don't want Rodney telling us that it was a non-compliant statement, because George Clooney, I'm sure, would have.
That's right. I will take it, buddy. I'm happy to play second fiddle to you anywhere we go, buddy. Like I said, again, same thing, Paul. Always so honored we get a chance to spend a few minutes together. And just an incredible human being. Before we kind of get into what Paul and I want to talk about, let me take just a minute and set this up for you guys. So, as many of you know, we have been working relative to our Pulse and our Pulse podcast. Make the content a little more relevant, make it a little more exciting, give you tools that you really need. We have some amazing tools we use at the company, but this was one of those situations where we thought this is something that we really want to emphasize. And so in order to do that, we did some various different things. I think many of you probably saw earlier in the month, we had a Pulse Instruct where we talked about product. We talked about we had people on that we're going to tell you about and teach you about our product and what they could do. I think we were joined by our president of our SAB, and then we just had different parts and pieces of that we're doing. This particular podcast, Pulse podcast, is related to the industry, and it talks about timing and trends and things like that. We know that as we've talked with you, you've requested to learn more about the trends, more about things that are changing, more about ways that we can adapt and become a part of kind of this moving, changing, growing industry. And when we started talking about it, and this is just a testament to Paul, they said, well, who do you want to do this first one with? And I said, well, it has to be with Paul. Paul's one of those guys that has spent so much time studying the industry, and he's grown so dramatically. What I loved about Paul's perspective is this is kind of Paul's first time in network marketing. This is the first time that he's really embraced the industry and kind of built, and he's been a wild success doing it. But he has this view and this perspective of the industry that I think is really, really special and really, really unique. And so having that be a part of this first podcast and having us get a chance to discuss that, I think is just amazing, special. And I'm so glad that Paul is taking the time to do it. But I want to set it up for you because I want you to know what this is and what it can mean to you, and why I think this information and what we're going to talk about today can really impact you. So again, Paul, thank you for being here, and thanks for sharing your expertise, because I know what it'll mean to these guys that are listening today. So thank you, buddy.
Sure.
Paul, I'm going to jump into this, and I'm so excited about it. And I'm going to ask you 4 or 5 questions, and as I've learned, when it comes to Paul and it comes to discussing these things, you'll get exactly what he knows. You'll get it delivered with a lot of passion, a lot of, just IQ in terms of what the industry looks like, but you'll also get a really original perspective. And so when we thought about these questions and how they related to you, they were kind of written around those ideas. So just this first question, and Paul, you and I talk about this all the time. We talk about technology. We talk about how it's changed what we're doing, how it's made the industry different, how it's made the way we recruit different, and things like that. But just take a few minutes and talk about how technology really has changed the way we recruit kind of in today's environment. I'd love to get your take on that.
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you. And I think one of the best compliments you've ever given me was the fact that I'm open to being educated and learning, and not willing. I'm willing to change things once I learn new techniques. And I think that's something that if you're watching this podcast, you need to open your mind and realize that there are old ways of doing things, there are new ways of doing things, and our our personal opinions can't get in the way of the success of a whole team, because we are not our teams. We're just one person on that team with one opinion. And if we don't allow these things to expand, we're ultimately going to suffer, or our teams are going to suffer. So technology has absolutely revolutionized recruitment in the industry. Social media platforms, we do targeted advertising, digital communication tools like our app, or even some of these text programs that are out there now, allow us to reach a much wider audience, and connect with potential recruits much more efficiently. In fact, I'm a lover of the cold market, meaning that, I think there's less odds that your brother-in-law is going to join you, or your high school quarterback, or the cheerleading captain, is going to be someone who's going to really excel in the business. Let's face it, look in the organizations and how many people's high school buddies are also at the top rank in their company. But yet when you go on social media and you're meeting a much broader group of people, the chance of stumbling across someone else has the same entrepreneurial drive or greater than you, someone who's really open to the entrepreneurial journey, it's much easier. And some of these automated systems, even like text responders, or just the follow-up that's built into our personal app that we give for free, makes it much easier. Our online presentations, I did a call this morning. We do a call every Saturday morning about how to get started in the business. There's things like the gel and tell. So a lot of these presentations streamline the onboarding process. It makes it faster, more effective, and it's something that's easily duplicatable because we can have a fixed message. So I think that's the first phase of it. I think we're well beyond just the social media, recruiting off of Facebook and Facebook Messenger, but at least it's whetting people's appetite to that market. Okay, it doesn't mean you're going to abandon some of the belly to belly, or maybe some of the older school people, or just make your list, call your buddies from high school, et cetera, et cetera. So is that kind of zero in a little bit?
Exactly right. You nailed it. And I love what you had to say, because the introduction of all these types of things has been nothing short of revolutionary. And
sure.
And one of the things I love about you is you do teach the power of the cold market. I think in the industry, and even within the company and other companies, people, when they have conversations about markets, they're always talking about this warm market,
Sure.
which we know is great. But like you said, understanding how to tackle that, understanding how to work, understanding how to be effective in that market, and recognizing that there is a significant advantage recruiting in that market.
Sure.
Really all of a sudden makes all this technology worth it, right? It's like you understand how you can use it, how you can cast that wider net,
Sure.
and you can reach out and expand.
And you're looking for people who are looking. So what better way to find them? I mean, what are the odds are that you sign up with New You Life and you get your kit and you're all excited and you walk out your front door and you decide, should I make a left or a right? And you make a right and you knock on your neighbor's door. What are the odds that at that very moment that you started your entrepreneurial journey, that your next door neighbor, right, who still ruined your lawnmower last month, is also in the market to be in their own, start their entrepreneurial journy, right? So I think that's important. I love that. Think about this. They say the average person knows 200 people. Well, guess what? I max out on Facebook friends at 5,000. So what is a bigger pool to work from?
Love that. No, such great information. And one of the things you talked about is that there's absolutely no reason not to be excited, motivated, and trained about how to work inside of that cold market. Sure. It's just such an untapped resource. And really, you hear all the time with people like, well, I don't know who I want to. That's what that's for, right? That tool, that whole idea that you can continue to build that market, continue to populate it, continue to grow. I love the fact you brought that up. And matter of fact, if you haven't gotten a chance to, all of our New You Life family, Paul does an entire training on this where he talks about it, and he talks about how this stuff works. And so if you get a chance, you can tether yourself into that and learn more about it. But it's
Sure.
just beautifully answered. Beautifully answered. Second thing I want to ask you was, and I mean, this is something that's always been so important to me. I know how important it is to you because I know how hard you work on this, but with this changing market, with all of this technology, with this kind of wider net that we're casting, how are you teaching? How are you helping people to understand, to focus on those relationships, right? Building those relationships in this market. Because I think sometimes people get a chance to get spread out a little bit, right? They're tethered to different things, and there's a lot of distractions. How do you teach them to build those strong relationships?
Well, I guess the first thing to realize is that building relationships remains at the core of our industry, right? So we talked about cold market and warm market. Well, with the warm market, you are basically, these are people who already know you or know of you, good or bad, from your past, your childhood or whatever, good or bad. And you're going to go right into what it is you're doing. With the cold market, they don't know you, and people do business with people they like, they know, and they trust. So that relationship building, or the micro rapport that we build, is what's going to carry you to the next level. Like, how do you get someone to like, know, and trust you? Is by having authentic conversations. So building relationships is the core. Authenticity and transparency are key. And, I once had someone tell me, Paul, when you speak, and, you should really try to lose your New York accent or that New Jersey thing you do. And actually it was the worst advice I've ever gotten. You need to be, I am who I am. I sound like I sound, I look like I look, and I have to embrace that. And that created this authenticity that people started to trust me. Look, engaging with team members, like personally, get a feeling for that, provide some of that mentorship to them, get to know what their personal goals are, some of their challenges at home with their children, or maybe retirement. One of the biggest things that I do, and I literally did a belly to belly meeting this morning out here in California. And it happened to be my Uber driver who dropped me off somewhere and heard me on the phone. And, we've all heard that story before, but my questions were twofold. One was, what bothers you? What ails you? Is it your brain? Is it your memory? Is it your muscle pain? Is it youthfulness? Is it anti-aging? What are some of the things you're concerned about? And number one, and number two, what is your financial condition like? Right? What is your financial condition, to see if there's an opportunity there for the business? Right. So now, once I know that information, or I know, I have a sick child, or I have this issue, or I have to save for college or retirement, I have a personal relationship with them, but I also know that I could do some goal setting with them. Yeah. So providing that mentorship and fostering a sense of community. Like, it's easy to appreciate someone else. I mean, we could tend to judge people, but let's see how we could help people. And then we can collaborate in virtual meetings, and like, we invite everyone to our calls. In fact, some of the calls are really for new people to try before they buy, right? We try to say, hey, are you ready to buy yet? Oh, would you like to try Somaderm? Would you like to do that? What about just saying, look, we do these calls on a Saturday or a Monday or a Tuesday. I'd love for you to come in and see it, and see how we coach, see how we train. Most people, once they know it's network marketing, right, and they know it's selling product, the biggest challenge most people have is they don't know if they could do it or not. So what better way to let people try before they buy is incorporate some of these trainings into the recruiting process, to see if there's a fit for them, to see if they see what we see, what we're excited about.
Gosh, I love that. Been taking notes this whole time. I'm
glad, because I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
I got to remember what the hell I just said.
Yeah, that's right. No, but what I love that you said, well, I loved all that you said, but the try before you buy piece, right? There's this, and identifying what's unique to them. And there's ways that technology can help you do this, but identifying what's unique to them, what problem they're dealing with specifically, makes all the difference in the world, right? We have this, we have two things I think that we do. Sometimes we have a one size fits all mentality, right? No matter what works is going to work for everyone, which is not the case. You really have to understand what's unique to them. And then secondly, we have this idea that no matter what we do, that people are just going to genuinely understand how to do this, right? They're going to know how it works, what it do, and so they get sort of delivered a business, but they really don't know what to do or how to do it or anything like that. And
Well,
that relationship,
I think it's a great point. And then a lot of times people get so nervous. I teach this thing called go for boring. And what I mean by going for boring is when you've been doing this long enough and you repeat yourself a million different times and having that system, that repeatability, it becomes somewhat boring at times, right? But it's not for the person who's hearing it for the first time. So when I teach go for boring is get to the point where you're comfortable, where a call is not going to rattle you. Because a lot of times what we think about is, oh my God, how great would this person be for my business? Oh my God, what they could do for me if they joined me, right? Meanwhile, it's no, what could our business do for them and how is it going to change their life? And we just get caught up in that. Does that make sense?
That's so good. Yeah, it's a mindset change, right? It's different because you're recognizing, it's because we get so excited about who that next person is and how that person is going to become a part of our business and why they're going to be such a big deal that we forget that we really do have the tools, we have all the things we need to really impact someone else, and we have this sort of cookie, right, that we know can do what it does, and the problem is sometimes it gets lost in translation, lost in the conversation. So you bringing that up is perfect because that's exactly what happens. I've said this before and I'll say it again. We're the most unique, complete opportunity that exists. And it doesn't really matter what industry you stack us up in, and when you realize that, then all of a sudden you can say, oh my gosh, I really do have something for this person that they're going to want from me. And the fact that you brought that up is so incredible.
People just don't realize they're just so nervous about we haven't gotten over our own stigma of MLM. I really never really had it. Once I saw the potential and the ability to scale this, think about this. You're not setting up offices. You're not renting storefronts. You're not buying donut making machines. You're not buying a coffee machine. I do a lot of business in Korea, as you know. And the number one plan B, in fact, I literally had coffee at a coffee shop called Plan B, right? And so people are thinking about plan. They're thinking about a plan B, right? So think about the expense. I mean, a good espresso machine, a commercial espresso machine. I had a restaurant in Boca, Florida, and the espresso machine cost it was this big copper ornate thing because we did it as a piece. And it was $35,000. We had to lease it. That's how expensive it was that we leased the coffee.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but the point is that's business expense. We're here. Our expense really more is our personal capital and our relationship building ability. That's the capital. But the scale, to think about some guy from New Jersey meets a woman in Canada, and now we're the largest distributors in Korea.
Crazy.
Think about where else can you do that?
You can't. You're exactly right. This is the only place you can do that. Yeah, I agree. Our industry is the only one that does that. And frankly, you've done it so well because, like I said, that's one of the skills that you have that you just do really well is this connection, this relationship building, right? It's the opportunity to connect with someone. But I think, and I'll say this, but I think what you do that's so powerful and so important is that you connect why they want to do the business with this opportunity. And frankly, I think that's part of your background. I think it's part of what happens. And it's something that we try to teach. We try to say, hey, look, don't just connect them based around what you think the business is going to do for them or what you think they want to get from being involved with us. Find out what that is. Build enough of a relationship that you know what it is. Then that becomes the glue. That becomes the stickiness. That becomes the thing that keeps them going when they need to keep going and all those things. So like I said, I love the fact you brought that up. I think it's critical, and I think you do it really, really, really well.
Stop convincing and start helping. That's it. It's that simple.
I love it. Stop convincing and start helping. All right. I completely agree. I love it. Good job. Paul, third question I want to ask you about, and this one because you and I have had a lot of conversation about this too, but we have affiliate marketers now. We have influencers now. We have all these different kind of people that participate in the market in different ways. And to some degree, it's kind of I don't know if it's changed the way we do business, because it has, but I mean, I guess what I'm wondering is also influenced the way we kind of move forward and what we do in the markets today.
Sure.
And so just take a few minutes, talk about sort of the advent of affiliates and influencers, how you like to work with them, and how you think that's going to impact our market as we move forward.
Well, I'm going to answer the question honestly first and give you the whole response to the question. And then I'm going to address the apprehension, the nervousness, and the fear that comes in, because affiliate marketers, influencer are they're not into the MLM game. They don't understand residual income. They're basically used to, getting online and saying, hey, this iPhone is the most amazing iPhone, and that's why I use it. And they get so they eat what they kill. So eventually they're going to learn. But let me answer the question honestly first, put some fear in the hearts of distributors that don't understand what we're doing. And then we'll show you why this is something that you not only should embrace, it will probably explode your business. So the rise in affiliate marketing and influencers, it shifted our approach towards collaboration, right? Not getting distributors, but collaborating with people. So partnering with affiliates and influencers can significantly amplify our reach as a company and our credibility, right?
Yes.
So we can leverage their audience and their trust that they've developed, and allows us for a more organic promotion of our unique products, right? So we're a little bit of an enigma as a company because we're in the hormone health space, which is a little challenging. But when you have, the like, know, and trust, well, influencers have created the liking, the knowing, and the trusting for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. So this would really help us drive growth and brand awareness, because when I talk to people all over the world, they're like, well, what's New You Life? So, we don't realize that we haven't even scratched the surface. And would you rather run your commercial on public access TV like Wayne's World, or would you rather have a Super Bowl commercial?
Exactly.
Right. But this creates fear, because they're going to be like, well, this is more retail, and I don't understand the influencers, and they just don't want to sign an agreement. We'll walk you through that. But I think if you open up your mind and realize that it's not about me, it's not about you as a distributor, it's about what our teams can produce, right? We want to create this reach. We want to create, look, we're a volume-based comp plan. So I'm just going to talk money for a second.
Yeah.
So what is a volume-based comp plan? It's based on who's got the most volume will make the most money, right? So if you have, and by the way, once you develop your relationship with these influencers and these affiliate people that are really comfortable in their world, right? And then show them the benefits of a network marketing opportunity, or maybe we develop a little bit more of an influencer type program as a company, and have some sort of other channel. To realize that we'll all benefit from that is I think, going to be part of the future. And there's more things coming. I mean, influencers are almost old school already.
Of course. Yeah. They're almost out. They're almost out to pasture now, huh? I understand.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you said, that this group had the ability to kind of drive, because in the company, we're always talking about channels. We're always talking about different ways you can market your product, and we are volume based, right? You talked about that. You said the guy with the most volume is gonna win, right? So, but the reality is when you start talking about how you do that and the way that you bring that volume into it, I've really seen this market shift. And people start talking about, look, here's how you work with an influencer. Here's how you work with an affiliate marketer. And you start talking about those things. So real quick, how do you talk to an influencer? What do you say to an influencer if you know one that has this huge reach, but you're like, but you want them to understand the power of what we're doing, and maybe even the power of passive income, of leveraged income.
Right. Well, the leverage income I go to in the end, because it really depends on their opinion. I try to have an open conversation, but the first thing we hit with is the uniqueness of the product line, because they're all trying to monetize themselves, right? So, they could sell protein shakes, or they could sell, refer affiliate marketing to Amazon. They could pick a spatula, which is great. And it may look cute and exciting, but when they find and they latch onto something unique, all right. So let's say influencers who are on the 40 plus fitness bandwagon. There's tons of them. Go look for someone who's 40 plus and the woman or the man is in great shape, or they're 50 plus or 60 plus. Or then you could look at people who are in the cosmetic line and they do makeup, teaching about how to apply makeup and shading and contouring and all of these things. So these are the people you're talking to, but you want to be able to say, look, this is something unique. We're not talking about a lipstick here or a new rouge. We're talking about the foundations of health, which is ultimately going to help you with skin, hair, nails, look better, feel better. You have a better palette on which to work with. Even for a fitness influencer, if your body's in better shape, their results of their I don't want to say patients, but let's say my personal trainer uses Somaderm because he saw the results I was getting and how quickly I was getting those results at 60 years old. So those are the conversations you have with them to say, look, this is going to have wow factor, it's going to have uniqueness, and it's not a me too, right? It's very difficult. Look, the product's been around for 20 plus years, and people have tried to knock us off. And there's a couple of products out there that look like someone just told me that they bought a similar looking bottle and there was literally Vaseline in the bottle. They spent $75 for a jar of Vaseline. Right? But so I kind of getting off topic a little bit, but as far as the influence is concerned, have an honest conversation with them and then get into the network marketing side about, look, we could set you up because if they sell one bottle and they make X, they're fine with that. Yeah. Then talk to them about how that could be duplicatable when those people sign up for AutoShip, right? They understand subscription models because they all have Netflix. They all have a cable bill. How about you building your influencer program and at the same time building residual income? Why not try it with our product? We're perfectly set up for it. And we have a product that people want to use for a while, right? And usually start with one product for lack of confusion, and then they could start, bringing other things in. If they're about pain, don't talk to them about NeuroV. Talk to them about AWE or CBD. You don't vomit all over people. We have, approach them based on what they're comfortable doing first, then stretch them out of their comfort zone. Just have a conversation with them.
I love that. And again, going back to some of the stuff we talked about earlier, you're connecting them with the things they need. You're giving them access to the tools that are going to do that. And you focusing on what makes it unique, what makes it special, why it's different. It makes all the difference in the world, because then all of a sudden an influencer, affiliate marketer can build the connection, right? They can say, okay,
and then give them a chance to accept the fact that what they're doing is like a real estate agent. Sell a house, they make a lot of money. Great. That's really good, but you got to go out and do it again and again and again, and you're not building. But give that time. Don't try to try to address every single one of the concerns right off the bat. Start slow. Let them do one product.
Love that. Well said. Beautifully said. I hope everyone's writing that down, because that'll be a huge benefit to them. And you're going to bump into these people that are building digitally, building socially, have these businesses, these structures that they built online that they needed to be able to add volume to add more product to. There's just amazing opportunities out there. So thank you, Paul. That was beautiful. When it comes to principles in the industry and kind of some of the stuff that we hang on to, things like relationship building we've talked about, just stuff like that. As you're watching this landscape to some degree change, or at least get added to in terms of how we market and what we do, what are some of those principles that you think really have stood the test of time? Like that you look at and you go, you know what, I think this is something we hang our hat on. What do you think is a part of that group?
Well, I'm from New Jersey, so I really have very low principles, but no, I'm kidding. No, I got to be honest. It's important for us to be morally, ethically, and highly principled, because there's already some stigmas, even to this day. I think most people, when they say, it's this, it's that, or it's network marketing, are really just repeating something that they heard someone else say, and they have no really proof or basis for it. In fact, I think this business, because of that, has been so highly regulated that people hasn't realized that pendulum has completely swung to the other end. I mean, we're such a highly regulated business. I remember being on calls in the early days of New You Life with compliance, and we can't say this, and we can't say that, and we can't say this, and people would be upset about it. So if there's plenty of evidence that this is a valuable trusted industry now, and it's more than the NFL, MLB, NFL combined. National Hockey League combined, the revenue that we have in this industry. So I think building trust and having effective communication is critical. Providing value, you got to remain consistent, and principles are really, really crucial. Trust is the foundation of any successful network marketing venture, right? Open communication, genuine value to both your customers and your team members, right? It's a different dynamic there, but you have a responsibility to your team members. I tell people before you go on a 90-day run, you should be talking to all your people and mend those fences. People judge each other. People have challenges with each other. People are growing and don't really understand the business and think they have a better way. And you got to give them the chance to run free a little bit and then let them figure it out. And then you have to be willing to open the door and let them come back in. So if you're going to foster long-term relationships and have sustainable growth, you must allow your business, your team, and your customer base to breathe. Yes. Not only what your people are doing, but what you're doing with your people, because we make mistakes too.
Yeah, we do. We do it all the time, right? And I love the fact you talked about mending those fences and going back and making sure that we've done that. And when you're moving and when you're growing, particularly you've grown, and when you're engaging people the way that we engage with them, it is so important that you're conscious of those things, right? How quickly that goes, how we're bringing people along, and if they want to come, and how we're interacting with them, and how they're understanding the same principles that you talked about. So
sure.
That process is so critical, so important. And so I would definitely, going back to what you said earlier, I definitely think, for lack of a better term, that whole just responsibility that comes with being integral and being there for someone, but having them understand what you need to do next is so critical, and I think really underrated. And I do think no matter who you're working with, no matter what group you're working with, that's a principle that stands the test of time, right? That's one of those things where you're like, this is going to be a part of this. And that's exactly what it needed to come out. But those are things we don't talk about a lot, right? We don't talk about, we don't teach them, we don't train on them. And sometimes it takes experience like you and others who have had success or even hadn't had success have had, right? Where you're working through this industry and you find yourself kind of in this spot where you're like, what do I really need to focus on, right? And so thank you for talking about those principles, because they're the things that'll stay with you and will last that entire time. So good job. Paul, last question I got for you, buddy.
Sure.
And then
are you sure?
One bonus question. Yeah, I was like, I told when you and I were talking about setting up this podcast, I go, it's not getting Paul and I to talk. It's the hard part. It's getting us to be quiet. It's the trick, right?
Exactly right. Exactly. But you see, we're passionate about it. You know what I mean? It's not about us. Yeah, I haven't heard the I, me, or I in this conversation once, and I think that's important.
I agree with you. I agree with you, my friend. What's coming? Like, if you're going to say, this is what I think's happening, and I know you don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not anticipating that you do, but if you had to say, this is kind of the way I think things are going relative to the industry and trends like that, is there anything out there on the horizon that you see that you think is important that we watch for? You
don't need a crystal ball, but you just need to be open and aware. But I'm going to tell you, looking ahead, personalization through AI, data analytics are going to play a significant role. And I think that through what you guys are doing in the sales department and the marketing department with Sean, there's a big focus on that, understanding that New You Life should be more than ahead of the curve as far as using these technologies to grow, because I wouldn't say our industry competition is doing it, but the major players, the Fortune 500s of the world, who I think that we're more in line with. I think we're more aligned with some of the major big pharma companies than we are aligned with, the latest protein shake or lipstick company. And I don't mean any disrespect by that, because, my wife wears lipstick, right? The point is that we have to realize where we are as a company and where our positioning is. So AI and data is going to be big. And I'm really excited about what we're doing with Shopify. Think about something as simple as cart abandonment, right? Someone goes into your website and they click on a Somaderm, and then they change their mind and they go back. And then all of a sudden, not through the distributor, not through anything, but through AI and through these systems that we have, they're going to get a follow-up email. Hey, I noticed that you clicked on Somaderm, but you didn't buy it yet. What can we do to help you? Do you need some more information? Here's a video. Here's a 10% off coupon, whatever it may be. And I think that's going to be critical. I think eventually too, tailoring products, and, maybe different sizes of products for different markets, different services, and different communication to individual preferences, right? Imagine targeting people based on exactly who they are. There's so much data about us online that we don't even know about, right? And we don't even know that these companies have this information on us. But if we're tapping into it, and it could build your New You Life business, which is probably, I think, the biggest benefit of a network marketing opportunity, that when you have a company that's working so hard behind the scenes to increase your ability to sell, without us making the investment or even understand half the stuff that Sean talks about, I just go, wow, because I'm focused on the result. He's focused on the process, right? Imagine if you had to stop building your business and focus on the process instead of focus on the outcome. So we could get to focus on the outcome. I think that that will help with customer satisfaction and retention, because they're getting emails and communications and everything. And we don't even have to think about it, because we could be on to finding the next person, or working with an influencer, or doing a live on Facebook with an influencer. I think sustainability and social responsibility are going to be a big thing. I think, things are gaining traction about the environment, and a lot of businesses align with these values. And I think that's hard for us to do as individual distributors. So I think, some of that stuff, people look for that. People look for green. People look for health. I think we're in a perfect position. And again, this is really more about why partnering with New You Life is so important versus going it alone, or using the systems that are coming in place. That we could talk about all of these things, and it sounds like I'm really smart because I'm aware of it, but I don't have to do any of it. It's going to be done for me for my $59 a year. Could you imagine?
That's crazy. I love that you language it just like that.
Because I'm a simple guy,
Oh, yeah. You did perfect. And I don't care what anybody says. You are smart, Paul. I don't care what anybody says. You're a smart guy.
When you say I don't care, no matter what anybody says, you talk about you?
I haven't heard it before. I'm just saying. What I love about all that you said, and going back to Sean. So one of the things that I think was really telling for me watching Sean, watching the marketing department, we moved up to number 4 on the digital momentum index, where now we're becoming this, sort of our
stuff,
it's all a part of that. And I would echo what you said about how this plays itself out, is that that's one of the things that the companies really kind of tackle as a mission, is to say, okay, how can we help you access these kinds of things? How can we help you make these a part of what you do? How can we help you be at the front of this industry and not in the back? How can we, and even this technology? And so that has been so important to us, and I know it's been so important to you. I was actually having this conversation the other day with Sean. We were talking about AI, and I'm just blown away at what some of this stuff can do. So giving you access to that is tantamount, and having you recognize that, and languaging that for people that we work with, right, that are part of our New Life family, be able to say, hey, we know this technology exists. We know it's out here. We want to put you in front of it. We want to do all we can to help you do that, right? We know, we say it all the time. We know sometimes the wheels turn a little slow at corporate, but what we do understand is that we're aware of it, we're excited about it, and we want to make sure that it's something that you can use and that you can make work. So I love the fact that you talk about it, because I think, like I said, it changes the whole dynamic and changes what we do. And I do think all the stuff you talked about is coming: sustainability, success, social responsibility, how we build digitally, and how we incorporate all the things you talked about so well today, from relationships to how they build, with product. All those things are a part of that conversation. And so if we look at it that way, look at it through that lens, look at how we can build that direction, and incorporate those things, then I think we have something that stays current, that stays motivated, that helps you get what you need. And so once again, really well answered. All right, last question. And I know I've kept you too long, but I have to ask you this.
Sure.
Paul, of all the things you've seen, you've had this storied Wall Street career. You've had, everything that's happened here in New You Life and your experience here. And I know you well enough to know that now that you're a recognized leader in the industry, that you're constantly rubbing shoulders, you're constantly talking to, visiting with, leaders in other companies and all these different things. Why New You Life? Like, if you had to say why this company in comparison to something else, what would you say?
Well, I'm going to answer it the way a lot of people answer it, but it's for a reason. It's Alexi. And I'm going to get into some of the other things, but Alexi is not your typical CEO, not your typical business owner. He's not sales generated as much as he is support and helping generated. So that would be the first thing. I got to know this man extremely well, and I know where his heart is. And we all talk about Alexi's heart, but the point is he gives us the ability to really see it. That may have caused us some challenges along the way, because I think some of these dyed-in-the-wool network marketing owners may create some different, pathways that may seem a little bit smoother. But then I've heard so many horror stories, especially from these top earners, that how the rug gets pulled out from under them. And I've seen Alexi where I felt he should have pulled the rug out from under people and absolutely didn't. That is very critical. The other thing is that, yes, we were very unique as a hormone health company, but we're going to have another unique opportunity with what we're doing in AI and what we're doing with Shopify and what we're doing with these other things. Not only that, we have a roadmap of training that you and I are going to expound on and make even better and simpler. And then what about the fact that we know our products? I mean, I'm a little privileged, but we know that in Macau, we're going to be talking about all the new products that are coming, which may extend this out 2 years from now. So imagine as a business, as a distributor, knowing what your marketing plan is going to be for the next 24 months and what's coming. Mm-hmm. That's powerful. And we as leaders and you guys as corporate, we need to really stress how important that is for people, because that's a recruiting tool. The fact that we're unique in our product base, the fact that we're unique in our ability to market and be ahead of the curve with digital marketing and AI, and then with knowing the products that are coming, how do you not have that business conversation? I know we're running long, but
good.
There's too much value here, and that your part of your recruiting is going to be, the value added of how much easier it is to build this business than any other company, right? I love when people say, "Oh, did you see what this big leader's doing? He's got this big technique and he's got this other thing, do this." And you call this person and 3 people call him. There's all great stuff out there. Imagine not needing any of that.
Yeah.
Imagine just being able to get anyone in and have it automatically just run for you. And that's where we're headed. We're headed to literally, AI doing everything for us, other than making friends. And all you need to do is learn how to say hello.
I love that, because that really is all you need to do. And I completely agree with you, Paul. Everything you had to say about everything from product, and again, just like you, that's where my journey with New Life started, was with Alexi. I looked him in the eye, I recognized he was different. He was different than everyone else, and that's true today. He sets the tone. He's the heartbeat, and he sort of sets this pace for us that is just amazing to be a part of. But like you said, between product, us being the hormone health company, it's almost irresponsible not to have the conversation, right? So those things, you just need to have it. You need to explain to them what's going on, and share that with them. And like I said, I know you do that. You do it so well. And you help and train everyone else. And the last thing I'll say about what I love that you do, is it doesn't matter to you if someone's a part of your team or not. It doesn't matter to you if I've watched you train, I've watched you teach, I've watched you work, and there's so much value and so much power in that. There's so much power in recognizing that we really are a global family, that we are one group, and that sharing, your ability to reach out and kind of reach into those other groups, changes the dynamic, and frankly changes the way we look at how we do things here at New You Life. I've said it 100 times, we're different, but I think your ability to do that has really changed how people grow, how they learn, and frankly how they see New You Life, which makes all the difference in the world. But
thank you for working
thank you, Paul. All right. Well, I think we used up all of our time, but what I will say is this. Again, Paul, know how much we appreciate you.
I do.
This Ignite webinar, right, that we've called for the last, however long we've had it, 2 years, is designed to ignite your business, designed to empower you with the things that are going to help you go to the next level. Paul, you embodied all the things we need to talk about today that are going to help them do that. And what I hope everyone walks away from this particular podcast recognizing, understanding, is this mentality, this desire to go out and create exactly what you want in this business, that you've got more tools to do that than you had before, and that you recognize that without a doubt, you are surrounded by people that want you to be successful and are dedicated to that very same thing. And so, Paul, thanks for leading that charge. Thanks for doing what you do. I'm going to look forward to seeing you in Macau. I can't wait. And we'll go make this happen. But, buddy, thanks again. And to all of you, I don't know if we give them the, what is it? The good night kiss. I don't know how we do this, but what I'm saying is
that was the thing that Carol Burnett used to do.
That's exactly right. Guys, thank you for all you do. Paul, thank you again.
Thank you. Love you, brother.
I love you too, man. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for everything, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the New You Life Pulse podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, for more information, please visit our website, newulife.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the New You Life Pulse podcast.